Welcome to another edition of PCTV Sports. In a few hours, the 15-11 St. John's Red Storm take on the 15-9 Providence Friars, who return home after a two-game road skid with the losses to both Pittsburgh and Notre Dame. Joining me here on the court today are the ESPN commentators that are going to be calling the action. Mr. Dave Sims and Mr. Bucky Waters. First off, gentlemen, thank you very much for spending some time with us today.
You're welcome.
Let's focus on today's game just for a moment. Coming off the two-game road skid, how do you expect the Friars to respond?
Well, it's my first time seeing Providence live. I saw them the other night against Notre Dame. They go up early, come back, they lost the game. Couldn't believe it. I mean, it was amazing. I like their athleticism, and considering the fact that Hankey's not here. Last year I was here for a Connecticut game, and I thought it was a team that had some potential. Now you take the 6'11" kid out. Herbert Hill's playing great, but they got some work to do.
Yeah, they do, but I think the future's good. Those four sophomores are good. They just had, hey, who wins on the road in the Big East? It's that game and the Pitt game. I was very impressed the way they played Pittsburgh up there the game before, but the remedy is here. St. John's, they've beaten 9 straight.
I don't believe it.
And yeah, and they've got them at home. They got a 3-game homestand, and if they can sweep this, the other 2 games are at South Florida and St. John's again in the Garden. You're talking about a 20-win season for the Friars, and it's doable.
Both teams are fighting for their postseason lives. St. John's coming in at 6-7 in the Big East. The Friars are 5-6. When we talk about today's game, which players have to step up to make sure their team does have a good chance to win?
I'd be shocked if Hill's not the main focus of everything they want to do in Providence. And for St. John's, they got to shoot the ball better. Not a great shooting team, have been for the last couple of years. Hamilton, see what he can do. Hamilton, and I think Eugene Lawrence has shot the ball. I was shocked that his 3-point numbers are a lot better than they have been. That's a big factor, right? They play tough.
Yeah, the signature for St. John's is half-court defense. Friars, whatever they do today, push that ball up the floor. Don't play half-court with St. John's because they are really, really good. And Darrell Hill, they got a tough break. You know, he was a terrific player and just had problems. And first he started, then he came off the bench. Well, now he's out. And it appears to me that St. John's, offensively anyway, is a better basketball team without him.
Ball gets shared.
Keeping with defense against Pittsburgh, and then again Thursday night at Notre Dame, we saw the Friars move away from their 2-3 zone a little bit, play some more man-to-man. Do you think Coach Welsh will stay primarily within the 2-3 or go back to some man-to-man?
Well, against, first of all, St. John's has not been a good shooting team. I think they're a little better now. I think they're comfortable with the zone and the size. I think more important than the defense is the tempo. I think the Friars really got to push and do everything they can to avoid the half-court defense. Whatever defense that is, normally it's hard to force tempo in a zone. And I didn't think their man-for-man looked that bad against Notre Dame. I just think they went into an offensive drought. That was just, I guess they've done that a few times.
Unfortunately, they have. You mentioned Herb Hill earlier. He's averaging 17 points a game, ranks 4th in the Big East. How is St. John's going to try and slow him down today?
That's interesting. Probably as many double teams as possible. And again, because they're such a good defensive team, they're so scrappy, they're relentless. And it's like, give me the 2x4. I got to get these guys off. Get out of here. Leave me alone. I think that's what they'll do. Just surround them and attack them as often as possible.
My guess would be both teams are going to say, we don't want that center. We know that both of those centers are the dominant players. Let's make somebody else beat us. Double team. Let's see how their inside-out game goes. Let's see how their perimeter shooting is. But let's don't let the franchise players beat us.
Moving away from today's game specifically, the Big East is arguably one of the best conferences, toughest conferences in the nation. This year, how many teams do you think will make it to the NCAA tournament out of the Big East?
Oh boy,
that's a good one. I think the league's down from last year, the last couple of years.
They made 8 last year, which I thought was just phenomenal.
I'm thinking, maybe 5 this year?
That's a guess, yeah. But there's so much coming down the stretch here. We're talking about, Friars maybe win season, and right now they're just barely in the Big East tournament. That's terrific. That's great for college basketball. Connecticut, of course, is down this year, and you won't see that very often. And starting next year, they'll be back.
Oh, they're going to mature quickly.
We mentioned Calhoun doesn't lose.
We mentioned this earlier that Providence seems to be in a lot of the games against top opponents. For whatever reason, they seem to fall short. Pittsburgh, Notre Dame. What does Providence need to not only compete in those games, but at the end of the day, bring home the win?
Well, I mean, there's no magic bullet. There's no. I mean, this isn't rocket science. Make shots. They got to make shots and take your high percentage shot to knock them down, and be consistent for 40 minutes. That's the other thing.
Very difficult to do, especially with 4 sophomores and Hill. I mean, let's look at him. This wasn't a McDonald's All-American that had to choose between going to the NBA or going to college. This was a project. Has made enormous strides, and the coaching staff at Providence deserves a tremendous amount of credit, as does he, for the progress that he's made.
Especially this offseason, came back much stronger, looks a bit bigger. We're now actually going to steal a page from the ESPN playbook and play PCTV's version of fact or fiction called True or False. Start over here. The Providence Friars will rally at the end of the season to make the NCAA tournament. True or false?
I'll say false.
I'll say true.
Appreciate the love.
Because, well, for a simple reason, they got this 3-game homestand. They've been very good at home, and even the 2 road games are winnable.
True or false? Herbert Hill will be drafted by the NBA.
True.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there's a lot to like.
Big guys.
Yeah, a lot to like. Yeah.
Last question, true or false? If the Friars fail to make the NCAA tournament or the NIT again, Coach Welsh will return as the Friars head coach next season.
I would say true. Well,
he's back.
Sure, he's got young team, sophomores coming back. Yeah, it's just
absolutely.
Providence is. This isn't your father's Big East. This is a corporation, and they've been very competitive. It's not like they're getting blown out of games. I mean, they go to Pittsburgh, they go to Notre Dame. They're this close from being real good.
They're hanging tough. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate your time today.
All right, good luck to you.
That is it for this edition of PCTV Sports. Jen, Tom, back to you.